Okay, let's jump right into Genesis chapter 12 for this deep dive. It's really where so much begins with Abram.
It absolutely is. And it kicks off with this incredibly direct, divine call.
Yeah.
God tells Abram, essentially, leave everything you know.
Yeah, leave your country, your people, your father's household. That's a huge ask. Go somewhere I'll show you later.
Right. No map, just trust. And then immediately, these massive promises are laid out.
Staggering promises like, I'll make you a great nation, I'll bless you, make your name great, and significantly, you will be a blessing.
Exactly. And it gets even bigger. Bless those who bless you, curse those who curse you. But then that line, all peoples on earth will be blessed through you.
Wow. That sets the stage for something, well, global, right from the start. How does one man's journey do that?
It's the central question, isn't it? So faced with this monumental call, what does Abram actually do?
He goes. The text says he just left Haran as the Lord told him. Simple as that, almost.
Well, simple in the telling, maybe. But think about it, he's 75 years old.
75. And he takes Sarai, his wife, Lot, his nephew, everything they own, everyone they'd gathered, and just sets out for Canaan.
That age really highlights the commitment. So they arrive in Canaan, and he travels within the land.
He reaches Shechem, this place with a great tree, and the source notes something important there, doesn't it?
It does. It points out, at that time, the Canaanites were in the land.
Ah, so the promised land isn't empty. There's already context, potential conflict.
Precisely. It's not a blank slate.
Yeah.
And right there, in Shechem, surrounded by Canaanites, the Lord appears again.
And reaffirms the promise.
Specifically about the land itself. To your offspring, I will give this land. It's getting more concrete.
And Abram's response is interesting. He builds an altar.
Yes. An act of worship, but also maybe staking a claim, acknowledging God's presence and promise right there.
He does it again, too, moving on towards Bethel, and pitches his tent, builds another altar, calls on the Lord's name. It's like he's marking the territory spiritually.
He keeps moving south, towards the Negev.
Yeah.
But then, a major problem hits.
Right. The journey isn't smooth. A famine. And not just any famine. The text says it was severe.
Severe enough to force a drastic change of plans. Canaan's the promised land, but you can't survive there right now.
So where does he go?
Down to Egypt. The text says he went there to live for a while because the famine was so bad.
Okay, practical decision. But things get complicated fast in Egypt, don't they? This is where the story takes a very human turn.
Extremely human. As they're about to enter, Abram gets scared. He looks at his wife Sarai and thinks, she's beautiful.
And his fear isn't for her initially, it's for himself. He says basically, the Egyptians will see how beautiful you are, kill me, and take you.
So he comes up with this plan. A scheme, really. He tells Sarai, say you're my sister.
Why? What's the logic there?
His stated reason is so that I will be treated well for your sake and my life will be spared because of you. It's about self-preservation.
Okay, so the plan is deception for survival, maybe even gain, and does it work?
Well, yes and no. They get to Egypt, and sure enough, the Egyptians notice Sarai's beauty. Pharaoh's own officials see her, praise her to him.
And she's taken into Pharaoh's palace, which is exactly the kind of danger you'd think the sister plan might risk.
It is. But Abram, he does get treated well because of her. He acquires livestock, donkeys, servants, camels. He profits from the situation.
But that can't be the end of it. Where's God in all this deception and danger?
Right when things look ethically messy and dangerous for Sarai, the Lord steps in, but not subtly.
How so?
The source says the Lord inflicted serious diseases on Pharaoh and his entire household, and it explicitly states why.
Because of Sarai.
Because of Abram's wife, Sarai. God intervenes directly to protect the promise, even when Abram's actions put it at risk. It's quite striking.
So Pharaoh figures it out.
Oh yeah, he summons Abram and he is not happy. What have you done to me? He demands. Why didn't you tell me she was your wife? Why say she is my sister so that I took her as my wife?
You can feel the outrage. Abram's plan totally backfired on Pharaoh.
Completely. So Pharaoh just says, here's your wife, take her and go. He basically kicks them out.
He even has his men escort Abram, Sarai, and everything they own out of Egypt, sent away, but with Sarai safe and the promise intact.
Exactly. Despite the fear, the deception, the very real danger.
So looking back at this chapter, it's quite a roller coaster. Starts with this incredibly high divine call and world-changing promises.
Moves through Abram's initial obedience, journeying, building altars, claiming the promise.
Then crashes into famine, fear, and this really morally gray situation in Egypt.
It puts the grand divine promises right next to raw human fear and some questionable choices. Abram, the hero of faith, starts off with an act driven by fear for his own skin.
Yet the divine plan seems to move forward regardless, even protecting Sarai through direct intervention when Abram couldn't or wouldn't.
It really shows this constant interplay, doesn't it? God's big purpose is working alongside and sometimes in spite of human actions and flaws.
It definitely makes you think. It's not a simple, straightforward path of perfect faith.
Not at all. It's messy, complex, and involves navigating some very real challenges and personal failings.
So maybe a final thought for you listening. What does this very first major episode in Abram's story, this mix of incredible divine promise and very human fear leading to deception, tell us about how faith actually works itself out in the face of real-world pressures and our own vulnerabilities? Something to chew on.